Right, this is just a video to help anybody who's having a look around the Fastrac and wanting to buy one and see what to look for and what's working and how it works or whatever, because they are slightly different to a lot of tractors, and if you jump in them and you don't know, you won't really know what to look for. Now, first and most basic one of all is if you jump in something and you've never been in it before, this is the air handbrake. Pull that back and that light goes on, but there's no buzzer. So they reckon a lot of trouble with Fastracs and where they've been on fire is people drive with that on and it causes heat build up under the cab and the disc catches fire to everything underneath. So that should have a buzzer on it, but they apparently never had them on them years ago, and this one hasn't. So you watch that light, handbrake off. So when you jump into the Fastrac to start with, that'll be on. So you turn the ignition key on, you'll see that light. Start it up and there'll be a buzzer. And what'll happen is, I don't know, can you see there? There's 1, 2 and 3. And the buzzer will stay on until these lights have gone out. And what it is, it's filling up the various air bottles underneath. So the 3 will be on to start with, and that one will go out, and that one will go out, and then finally that one will go out. And you're ready to go then. But don't try and move off until all them are going out and the buzzer's gone off. The air build-up is in there, and you can see it all building up. And once them are filled up once, you're usually okay then. You won't have to do it then, unless you've left it for hours and hours and hours. But this one is pretty good. It doesn't seem to lose any air on you overnight. So that's that. And here's another thing as well that you'll have to look for: forward and reverse. Most tractors these days, you jump in and it goes forward, doesn't it? Not with a Fastrac, with these older ones anyway. That will be still in neutral until you put your foot in the clutch. That beep, no, that is in forward. Now say you want to go to reverse. See, that's forward. When I go to reverse, I got my foot on the clutch. I was out of gear. But if I push this forward now, even if it's in gear, that won't change into reverse, into forward until I put my foot on the clutch, and it'll beep then. That is a bit of a thing to get used to. So you don't just pull it straight back. You can when you put the foot in the clutch. So just run through that again. If you jump in the vehicle, push this forward and expect to go forward, and when you put it in gear, nothing is going to happen. But when you put your foot in the clutch, now it's in forward and you can put it in gear, or have it in gear or whatever. So pull that out of gear for now. So remember that that won't change gear. Ranges now, we may as well talk about ranges, I forgot about that. If you look on that lever there, it's got high, medium and low. Same again with that. If you want to change ranges, look at them there, high, medium, low and reverse. At the moment, it isn't in high. Now, what happened then was I done the same thing again, put it into gear, put in the clutch, and that's what happened. So when I want to change range again now, nothing's happened. Put in the clutch, changes range. So that's how that works. You think of anything else like that? These two buttons are, everybody knows these, it's like a speed shift in here. There's only one, there's two on this one, because it's an older model. And it's, if you look on there, pretty self-explanatory. Snail and tortoise, high and low. You can't change that when you're on the move, and I'm sure it goes from forward and reverse, and you can't change that unless you're going below 4 miles an hour or something or other. Don't even try it. Just wait till you stop. It's a base fucking thing. Foot in the clutch, brake, whatever. But when you change the ranges, as I said before, another thing, you've got to be slow or at a stop, and your foot in the clutch for that'll work again. Let me put the handbrake on and turn this off a second. A few things I forgot to mention. It's pissing down outside at the moment. I won't jump out at the moment. If you're going to buy one of these things, as usual with most machinery you buy, first thing, stand back and have a good look at it. Is it knocked around? Has it been panels bent or whatever? I tend to not too much worry about the age of a machine, it's how it's been driven. You can have a newish machine and somebody has been changing gears, like they're trying to row a boat, and they can fuck a gearbox up in 10 minutes. But you get an oldish machine that's been looked after, it's as good as anything. So first thing, I tend to try and get somewhere a bit earlier so you can have a cold start in it before somebody started it. Do a cold start. Does the engine sound tired? Is it hard starter? Because there's a bit of a sign on some of these Fastracs. If they're a hard starter, the engine's going. You can get a voltage meter like this, test the alternator. So just chuck it on the battery or the back of the alternator and you should have 13 or 14 volts. If it's only throwing out 12, alternator needs changing. Check the voltage on the batteries, which are around here, because if it's hard starting and the batteries are down, there's your problem. The main thing is a gearbox, like I said before. Check the gearbox in every gear. If you've got any doubts about one of these gears, I would leave it where it is. That's just personal, especially with these older ones. The newer ones are a bit more reliable, but these older ones, if you've got a bad gearbox, you're into a lot of money. Shafts underneath. They need special JCB high-speed grease. Get underneath it, have a look to see if the drive axle shafts and PTO shafts have been having regular grease, because if they haven't, they'll rattle and it hasn't been looked after. If normal grease has been put on them, they'll be loose and they're liable to throw and break, and that could be big money again. So red grease, usually with JCB high speed grease, it doesn't fly off and it's at a very high temperature. Tyres, I know it sounds ridiculous, but tyres, has it got good tyres? I personally make sure you buy something with tidy tyres, because you're going to end up, when you count things up, if it's got poor tyres and you need new tyres on them, there's going to be 600 or 700 quid on a corner at least. So there's 2,500–3,000 quid in tyres if you don't get something with tidy tyres. Brakes, discs, have a look what the discs are like. The discs I think are about 200 quid each, could be a bit more, but I think the pads will be around that as well. So remember, if you've got worn brakes or worn discs on it, it's going to be 200 or 300 quid a corner at least. So do a good inspection or you could end up spending a lot of money. At the back there, have a look at the linkage. Make sure you've got the bloody pickup hitch all working, and you've also got the hitch, not only the pickup hitch with a hook on, the other bit as well, because you'll have a pig of a time to find that otherwise. Lights and electrics, make sure they're all working okay. You know, it's like a lot of things, but the basic thing with a Fastrac is make sure that gearbox is okay and the running gear underneath. I'll show you now. If you look under there, there's a lot of shafts that are moving at high speed, you want to check them for wear. And if there's any sign of any trouble with them, leave it be. It's pissing down a bit outside here. Like I said before, make sure it's got one of them on, because you're going to have a pig of a job to find one of them after. Okay? Lift cylinders, they do weak, they reckon, so don't be worried about that. Said discs. There's your disc. They're all outboard discs, so you can see them easily. You can see if everything's pitted or the pads are gone. Remember, the back is self-leveling, so when you start it up, that'll rise up. Make sure it does. Handbrake, like I said earlier on, is one of the major things to look at. Make sure the handbrake is working, because if it isn't working, somebody's been driving it in gear. Diesel tank, this side. Check the oil. Is to raise the cab, raise the bonnet, and there'll be a dipstick here, just inside there. Pull that out, and you probably won't have nothing on it when you first pull it out. Clean it off, push it back in, and for some reason you'll get a reading then. Front linkage. Well, it's a front linkage, isn't it? As I said before, tyres. Make sure you've got good tyres on it. I think the ones with the smaller wheels, these are 34s, I think. But I think this will go around 40-45 mile an hour. I think 40 is about it, tidally. But if you've got the smaller wheels on them, I think they're 30-inch wheels, they usually got a bit of a higher speed gearbox then, and you will go closer to 50. But I'm not 100% sure. That cap there, hydraulic oil, and there's a level as normal. There's 3 air cylinders I was talking about. They fill up in turn. That's about it, really. This is it, the one we got. Sure you've seen it on my videos before. She runs well. The only problem I've had on it, I've had to have a new alternator because she wasn't charging properly. But there you are. I hope this helps you. Good luck. What else I forgot to say? This is a 155/65, which is 150 horsepower. You can get a 185, I think it is, 55. I'm not 100%. I think that's what it's called. Now this one has got a Perkins 6-cylinder turbo engine. It's 150 horsepower. The 185 has got a Cummins engine in, and it's slightly different inside. Just where you start it up, a bit of a different where the key setup is. But probably you would be better if you were doing a lot of road work with one of them, with a bit more horsepower. But as I said, for the weight I pull, that is perfect. But remember, 155 has got a Perkins 6-cylinder turbo engine, 185 has got a Cummins 6-cylinder, and it's got a bit more power. I think it's about 180, I think. Which I suppose if you're pulling large trailers and stuff, it does make a difference. Okay. Another thing is, don't be scared off by high-hour tractors. You know, say that you have a high-hour tractor. This one's done 8,000 hours. You would never tell it. And the engine, she sounds a pound. You can go for somewhere with 2,000 or 3,000 hours on it and pay, God knows. Something like this with 2,000 or 3,000 hours, you're talking 20,000, 30,000 probably. Which I won't tell you how much this cost, but it was a hell of a lot less than that. So JCBs and Perkins engines and Cummins engines will do a lot of hours. And these, you know, you look around in a lot of these ads, and these Fastracs have done up to 15,000, 20,000 hours, a lot of it. So as I said before, look if it's been looked after. You know, you get 3,000 or 4,000 hours of abuse every day. you're going to be a lot worse than somebody who's got 8,000 hours of tidy driving on a small farm, or an old person driving it. So I've always been like this. I've always tended to look at the tractor and how it's been handled. That's my main thing. If your instinct is it's been knocked about, leave it there. It's just going to cost you money. If your instinct is that somebody's looked after it, it's a different story.